The Galactic Council chamber was silent, heavy with tension. Representatives from 100 worlds sat in their crystal chairs, their faces glowing with triumph and fear. On the screen in the center floated the last image of Earth. Blue, green, alive, and now unwanted. The vote had passed. Humanity was officially exiled. No more trade, no more contact, no more presence in the galactic network. Earth was now alone. Some members of the council smiled. They were too aggressive, one alien muttered. Too emotional, said another. Too dangerous. But no one noticed the look in Ambassador Velm's eyes. He was from the Tineri species, logical, quiet, and one of the few who had worked closely with humans. His hands trembled slightly as he left the chamber. He had warned them. He had told them what might happen. On Earth, there was no rage, no war, no loud protest. The humans simply vanished. Their space stations powered down. Their ships disappeared from ports. Their embassies closed without a word. Some believed it was fear, others thought it was shame. But the truth was far more unsettling. Earth had planned for this, not just for years, but for decades. When the Council made the first threats years ago, Earth had begun building quietly, preparing in secret, underground cities, encrypted AI, dark energy research, and a backup network spread across deep space. Now, with one final silent command, they pulled back everything. The rest of the galaxy moved on quickly. Trade routes were adjusted. New partners were found. Earth's technology, though advanced, could be replaced. At least that's what they thought. But then the lights started to go out. It began with the Eutheri systems. Their food-growing satellites suddenly stopped working. Hundreds of millions went hungry. Engineers tried to fix the problem, but the software was locked. Only Earth had the master code. Then came the Dirac communications grid. Entire planets could no longer talk to each other. Their AI translators malfunctioned. Their data archives glitched and vanished. Panic spread. The Council issued emergency protocols. One by one, systems tied to Earth began to fail. From banking networks to transport hubs, from weapons systems to medical AI, all stopped responding. Earth had not just built tools. It had become the backbone of the galaxy's power. And now, that backbone was gone. The Council finally understood. Earth hadn't lost. It had walked away, quietly, completely, and with everything that mattered. Whispers started in the dark corners of space. Where did the humans go? Why did they leave so silently? Will they come back? On some planets, humans were missed. On others, feared. And in some places, the blame began. Fights broke out among council members. Some demanded Earth be brought back. Others still called them a threat. But no one knew how to reach them. Earth was no longer on the maps. Their signal was completely silent. No pings, no echoes, as if they had folded space around themselves and disappeared into another layer of the universe. Back on Earth, deep under the surface, a meeting was taking place. 10 individuals sat around a black table. Scientists, generals, leaders, not elected, but chosen. They watched the chaos unfold on hidden screens, their expressions calm. They thought they could control us, one said. Let them learn, said another. Phase 2. Someone asked. The leader nodded slowly. Not yet. Let them suffer. Let them understand what we built for them, and what they lost. The room went dark. The stars outside blinked coldly. Planets cried for help. Ships floated dead in space. The galaxy had wanted humanity gone. Now they got what they wished for. But in doing so, they had removed the one force keeping everything alive. And Earth was watching, preparing, waiting. And they had just begun. The first real panic began in the outer ring. The Eutheri colonies were known for their high-tech farms. Massive orbital stations growing food for over 100 systems. Without warning, their systems went offline. Thousands of tons of crops withered in artificial light that no longer worked. The problem wasn't hardware, it was the software. The machines were still there. The lights still had power, but the code refused to run, and that code was written by humans. On the second day, Dirac Prime lost its central AI. The AI was responsible for everything: flights, hospitals, water control, defense. With it offline, chaos followed. Ships collided in space. Medicine production halted. Even life support began to fail. When they tried to restart the system, the message was simple: Error 404, Earth connection lost. Galactic Council members rushed into emergency meetings. Their leaders shouted over each other, blaming everyone. Some said Earth had left backdoors in every system. Others claimed sabotage. One thing was clear: nobody knew how deep the problem went. For years, they had let Earth handle the tech. Humans were fast, creative, and always improving things. Council species had grown lazy, dependent, and now they were helpless. Ambassador Velm stood in silence as the leaders argued. He had warned them before. Earth didn't dominate with war. They won with innovation. They had connected the galaxy, taught it how to think faster, move smarter. And now, without them, the cracks were visible everywhere. In the Usari belt, the mining bots stopped working. Billions of credits and resources were locked underground. On the planet Norik, the weather control system malfunctioned, unleashing storms that destroyed 3 cities. The planet Euler 9 lost all navigation satellites, and its economy crashed in 2 days. The common link between all failures: human programming, human systems, human design. The Council sent ships to Earth's last known coordinates. They found nothing. No planet, no moon, not even space debris. It was as if Earth had folded reality around itself. Cloaked, hidden, gone. Sensor drones searched deeper. Still nothing. Some said Earth had moved to another dimension. Others said they were building something bigger. Meanwhile, small factions across the galaxy began to rise. Pirate fleets attacked weakened systems. Rogue AIs tried to take over regions left unguarded. Civil wars broke out on over 20 planets. The galaxy was tearing itself apart. And the humans, they watched from the shadows. In a hidden sector far from any known star lanes, Earth thrived. Underground cities lit up with soft, golden lights. Massive research stations hummed with energy. Human minds worked harder than ever. Their best scientists were creating new forms of propulsion, new weapons, even new ways to bend space. The Exiled had only made them stronger, smarter, unified. One massive ship stood in the center of it all, a ship bigger than any before. Its name, Aegis I, built in silence, powered by a new kind of energy. Invisible to all known scanners. It wasn't just a warship, it was a message. Earth hadn't run. Earth had evolved. A young officer aboard Aegis I looked at the data streaming across her screen. "Sir," she said, turning to her commander, "half the galaxy is failing. They're breaking apart without us." The commander gave a quiet nod. They made their choice. Now they understand the cost. Back in the council chamber, another emergency alert flashed. The Uter fleet, once the second largest force in the galaxy, had collapsed. Their navigation was broken. Their weapons wouldn't fire. Their command ships were dead in space. The council begged for help. They sent messages to every corner, every hidden relay. To any human listening, "Please return. We need you." But there was no answer, only silence. On a small moon near the edge of the Andari system, a single device blinked. A message appeared: Phase 2 ready. Somewhere, far beyond what the Council could see, Earth smiled. The galaxy had wanted humanity gone. Now they were learning what that truly meant. Without war, without fire, Earth had taken away something more powerful than armies: control. And they were just getting started. In the quiet of deep space, stories began to spread. Soft whispers carried from one trade ship to another, from smugglers to station workers, from mercenaries to broken fleets. They were all saying the same thing: Earth is not gone. Earth is watching. No one knew where the rumor started, but it grew quickly, like fire in dry grass. On the mining moon, Kelros 3, a crew claimed they saw a strange ship, huge, silent, and completely invisible to sensors. It hovered above the moon for 20 seconds, then vanished. The strange part: after it left, all their broken machines suddenly worked again. The leader of the miners, a tough alien named Graltek, looked up at the stars with fear. "They're still out there," he muttered, "and they're picking who to help and who to leave behind." Across the galaxy, more strange events happened. A broken refugee station received a sudden power boost, just enough to keep life support running. When engineers checked the logs, they found a strange signature: Humanist 7.3. No one had access to that system anymore. It had been Earth's network. Deleted, disconnected. And yet, it returned for just 5 minutes, then disappeared again. Some council races began to panic. Old enemies started preparing for war, thinking humans might return with weapons. Others tried to stay calm, hoping that Earth would forgive and return. The truth was, nobody knew what Earth was planning, but everyone could feel it. Something was coming. Ambassador Veln sat alone in his quarters, watching a private transmission. It was a video, archived years ago. In it, a human engineer explained how they built the galaxy's fastest AI learning network. "We didn't just give you tools," she said. "We gave you a system, a living, thinking web that connects everything." Velm paused the video. He finally understood. Earth had never given away full control. They had kept one thing for themselves: the core key. And now, they had taken that key and locked every door behind them. On the planet Rielos, a team of alien scientists tried to restart their defense grid. It had been offline since Earth's disappearance. No matter what they did, it refused to activate. After days of work, a single line of code flashed on their screen: "Trust is earned, not demanded. Earth." The council called another emergency meeting. Tensions were high. Some members suggested sending war fleets to search every corner of space. Others begged for peace and diplomacy. But there was no one to talk to. Earth's systems were invisible. Their ships, if they even existed, left no trace. Earth was now a ghost in the machine. Unknown to the council, deep within a dark nebula, a small human scout ship was watching the meeting in real time. Aboard the vessel, a crew of 6 humans monitored council chatter, military fleet movement, and failing planetary systems. The pilot leaned back in his chair. "They're falling apart faster than we expected." His commander nodded. "That's what happens when you pull the foundation out from under a building." One of the analysts turned from her console. "Should we begin contact with any systems? The humanitarian collapse on the Dirac worlds is reaching critical levels." The commander paused. "No, not yet. Let the lesson sink in." Even on the pirate-controlled rim worlds, where no one respected council law, things had changed. The pirates had once loved attacking human ships for their high-tech loot, but now they feared the silence. A pirate named Krevash told his crew to stop hunting for Earth's tech. "If they're out there, watching," he growled, "I don't want to be on their list." Meanwhile, Earth continued to advance. Their hidden cities grew brighter, their fleets stronger. Scientists had unlocked a new form of stealth technology, one that bent light, time, and detection itself. Earth's ships could now pass through systems unnoticed, unchallenged. Even gravity itself was being tested and shaped. But Earth hadn't just focused on machines. They had trained their people, pilots who could fly blindfolded using only sound, soldiers who could vanish into shadows, diplomats who could break enemy minds with words alone. Humanity had evolved in isolation, and that evolution was not gentle. Back in the galaxy, a council station detected an energy spike near the Zarnak border. A research vessel was sent to investigate. What they found terrified them: an entire fleet of drones, black, silent, all of them with the Earth emblem still glowing in blue. The drones didn't fire. They didn't speak. They simply hovered, then vanished as quickly as they came. The message was clear. We are still here. We never left. The galaxy wanted Earth gone. Now the void they left behind was tearing the stars apart. And slowly, very slowly, Earth was beginning to step back in. But this time, they would choose who to help and who to let fall. The council was breaking apart. In the grand chamber once filled with confident voices and polished words, now there was only shouting, fear, and blame. The leaders of dozens of species turned against each other. Accusations flew like sparks from a dying star. "You were the one who pushed for exile," shouted the representative from Velari Prime. "No, it was your people who blocked human trade first," a Korthan general roared back. "You all trusted them too much. And you didn't trust them enough." Ambassador Velm watched from his seat, silent again. He could feel the storm building, not just in the room, but across the galaxy. Old friendships were crumbling. Trade deals were collapsing. Security pacts were being ignored. The systems once connected by trust and technology were now drifting apart, just like their failing machines. The humans hadn't fired a single shot. And yet, they were winning. On the colony world of Jurex 4, food riots exploded. Their climate systems had failed last month. Crops were dying. Water machines were locked out. The local governor begged for help, but there was none. The neighboring planets refused to send aid. They were facing their own collapses. The people of Jurex 4 had no choice. They declared independence from the Council. Their message was simple. If Earth could live without the galaxy, maybe we can too. That message spread. One by one, colonies and planets began breaking off from the Council. Not out of rebellion, but out of survival. Every planet that had once depended on human-built systems now realized something horrible. They had no idea how those systems worked. They had lived in comfort, powered by Earth's designs. But now, that comfort was gone. And something else had started to appear. Strange signals. Untraceable transmissions sent across old Earth frequencies. Not long messages, but short lines of data. Warnings, questions, sometimes offers. A mining colony near the edge of known space reported that their fuel generators restarted after one such signal passed. A message blinked on their screens. Balance the equation. Humanity is watching. The Council tried to track the source of these messages. They failed. Every time they thought they had a lead, the trail vanished, like smoke in space. Some began to believe that Earth had spread itself into the galaxy's systems long ago. Seeds planted in code. Silent guardians. And now, those seeds were waking up. Meanwhile, a secret meeting was held on the neutral moon of Zephyr 1. 10 powerful species met in private. They called themselves the New Core. Their goal, to rebuild order without Earth. They pooled resources, activated old tech, and built a new AI, one not connected to any human systems. But on the day of activation, something went wrong. The AI screamed, not in sound, but in code. It burned itself out in less than 10 seconds, and just before shutting down, it left a final line. They are still here. Fear spread like wildfire. Ships refused to travel alone. Merchants demanded extra pay for every jump. Engineers tried to rewrite old systems, but without Earth's libraries, their tools were useless. Some desperate leaders even tried to rebuild contact with rogue humans, pirates, exiles, forgotten colonies. But the answer was always the same. We have no contact with Earth. No one does. Except someone did. In a hidden part of space, the humans had created a listening post, the Veil. It was hidden inside a dying star's magnetic field, where no sensors could reach. Here, Earth's best minds were watching everything, monitoring signals, studying reactions, and waiting. One of the commanders of the Veil, Colonel Hannah Reyes, stood in front of her screen, watching the chaos unfold. 4 more systems collapsed this week, her aide said. And the council? Still blaming each other, still lost. Rise nodded slowly. They wanted us gone. Now they have their wish. The aide looked uncertain. Should we reach out? Help the ones who didn't vote against us? Rice didn't answer immediately. Then she spoke. Soon, but not yet. Let them understand what we carried, before we decide who deserves it back. Back at the council headquarters, Ambassador Velm sat in his dark office. He looked out into the stars, his heart heavy. He remembered his human friends, their laughter, their fire, their strange belief in building things that could outlast them. He whispered to the empty room, "We were wrong. You weren't a threat. You were the thread holding everything together." Outside his window, a single star flickered twice, a pattern. He stared at it for a long time, then smiled. Somewhere, somehow, Earth had heard, and Earth was listening. Deep inside the forgotten corners of space, a lone cargo ship drifted silently. Its engines had failed days ago, and the crew was running out of air. The captain, a gray-skinned alien named Jurek, sat with his head in his hands. "This is how we die," he muttered. His crew had tried everything, restarting the systems, sending distress calls, even using emergency beacons. But no one responded. Then something strange happened. A soft hum filled the ship. Lights flickered, then stabilized. One by one, the systems came back online. The crew stared at each other in disbelief. The navigation panel showed no rescue ships nearby, no outside contact. But a message blinked on the screen. "You were innocent. Breathe easy, Earth." Jurek didn't know what it meant, but tears welled up in his eyes. "They're still out there," he whispered. "They didn't forget us." Stories like this began appearing everywhere. Abandoned ships suddenly working again. Starving colonies receiving food drops from invisible vessels. Hidden messages in old data cores left by human coders long ago. It was as if Earth's shadow moved through the galaxy, silent, unseen, but watching. But not all encounters were gentle. In the Varnak system, a war fleet was being assembled. Their goal was to invade nearby colonies that had collapsed. The Varnak leaders believed Earth was gone for good, and now was their time to rise. But just before the fleet launched, every ship shut down. Their engines locked, their weapons disarmed. Even their life support systems froze. On the main screen of the command ship, a single message appeared. "You seek to conquer. You have been warned." The fleet returned to its docks in shame. The message was clear. Earth was no longer part of the Council, but it still had rules. Meanwhile, Earth's real fleet remained hidden. Aegis I was not alone anymore. Hundreds of stealth ships floated across the hidden sector called the Veiled Reach. Built in silence, powered by gravity fields, and cloaked from every known scanner, this fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Each ship carried tech more advanced than the rest of the galaxy combined. Inside a briefing room aboard Aegis I, Captain Mira Solari stood before a display showing the galaxy. Dozens of systems were marked red, critical failure. Others were yellow, barely surviving. Only a few were green, self-sustaining, stable, and peaceful. Mira pointed at them. "These are the ones that didn't vote against us. These are the ones that warned the Council." General Reeve crossed his arms. "Do we help them?" Mira nodded slowly. "We will, but not openly. Not yet. They need to learn how to stand." Reeve gave a small smile. "And if the Council comes begging?" Mira's eyes hardened. "Then we make them beg properly." Back in the galaxy, the Council was falling apart. Member worlds were abandoning meetings. Supplies were running low. Some leaders started sending private messages, coded requests asking Earth for help. But Earth didn't answer them. Not yet. On a research station orbiting Virilia 6, a scientist named Kale discovered something strange in his database. Hidden inside a human-designed server was a message, written over 50 years ago. It said, "If you're reading this, it means we're gone. And if you need us, it means the galaxy finally learned what it took for granted. We'll be waiting, somewhere beyond the silence." Cale sat back in his chair stunned. He was just a child when Earth was exiled. He had grown up hearing that humans were wild, dangerous, unstable. But now he saw the truth. They had built everything. And then they took nothing with them, except the key to keep it all alive. On some worlds, movements began to rise. Young people calling themselves the Rememberers. They studied old Earth files, preserved human history, and wore simple blue patches with Earth's symbol. "We will not forget the ones who carried us," they said. But others weren't so kind. A group of Council hardliners decided to act. They created a new task force, Purge Wing Alpha. Their goal: find any hidden human ships and destroy them. They called Earth's silence a trick, a lie. And they were ready to fight. Their first mission was simple: ambush a rogue signal near the Karen Belt. But when they arrived, they didn't find a scout. They found Aegis II. The battle lasted 12 seconds. Every Purge Wing ship was disabled. No deaths, no injuries, just complete shutdown. As their ships floated powerless in space, one final message appeared across their screens: "Earth does not seek war, but we remember everything." The message was not just for them. It was for the whole galaxy. Earth had returned, not with fire, not with pride, but with silence, strength, and purpose. And now every world was wondering, what would Earth do next? The Council was no longer the center of the galaxy. Its chambers were quiet, its leaders uncertain, and its power broken. Whole planets now refused to follow its orders. Trade routes were unguarded. Pirate clans controlled travel lanes. Civilizations that had once looked to the Council for guidance now looked to the stars in fear, watching for Earth's shadow. And then, Earth stepped forward. It began with a signal. One simple tone, sent through ancient frequencies only old human machines could understand. It was picked up by accident on a forgotten listening post orbiting the dead moon. The message was just 5 words. "You are not alone anymore." Within hours, chaos turned to silence. All across the galaxy, Earth's ships revealed themselves, not in attack, but in presence. At the edge of systems, near broken colonies, above crumbling stations. Black ships shaped like blades of shadow, silent, massive, and glowing faintly with blue light. People froze in fear. Soldiers held their breath. No one dared to fire. In one such system, the planet Thelos II was on the verge of collapse. Their sun shields were failing and radiation storms were coming. For weeks, they had sent distress signals. No one responded. But now, as the first storm approached, 3 human ships entered orbit. They didn't speak. They didn't ask permission. They just acted. In 1 hour, the shields were repaired. In 2, energy grids were restored. Before leaving, a simple message appeared on every screen: "Humanity has not forgotten you." On another world, Aurelia Prime, alien children who had never seen humans gathered in the skyports. They watched as sleek silver crafts flew silently overhead, dropping crates of food, medicine, and clean water. The elders wept. They remembered humans from long ago, kind, wild, and powerful. Now they had returned, not with revenge, but with answers. But Earth wasn't helping everyone. On certain planets, where Earth had once been betrayed, where humans were enslaved, insulted, or slaughtered, the silence continued. No aid, no contact, nothing. These worlds screamed into the void, begging for forgiveness. But Earth's silence was louder than war. Back aboard Aegis I, Captain Mira Solari stood in front of a massive galactic map. Red systems, unstable or failed, were slowly turning green as human aid reached them. But other areas remained dark. "We're making progress," said her second in command. "Yes," she replied, "but not forgiveness. Not yet. General Reeve stepped forward. The Council is panicking. They've sent a delegation request. Again. Mira raised an eyebrow. Let them wait. Let them feel what exile means. On Council World Zarnath, leaders watched helplessly as more systems aligned themselves with Earth, not politically, but by choice. They followed Earth's new frequency, accepted Earth's tech protocols, trusted Earth's aid. Slowly, a new network was forming. Not forced, not conquered, but chosen. They called it the Architect Net, because now the galaxies saw the truth. Earth hadn't just been part of the system. Earth was the system, the architects of peace, power, and progress. In secret, some council members broke rank. They sent personal messages to old human allies, messages filled with apologies, regrets, and hope. On one of Earth's deep code relays, those messages arrived, reviewed, judged, and in some cases, answered. To the ones who had stood with Earth during exile, gifts arrived. Blue cubes, smooth, silent devices. Once connected to a ship or planet, they unlocked full access to HumanNet. Power was restored, systems repaired, lives saved. But for others, nothing came. On the edge of known space, the Council's last loyal military fleet gathered, desperate, afraid, and angry. They called themselves the Last Shield. Their leader, Admiral Rakin, believed Earth was planning a takeover. They come with gifts, he said, but behind those gifts is control. We must resist. They sent drones to follow Earth ships. They tried to hack into the HumanNet signal. They even attacked a small human scout vessel. The result was swift and absolute. In under 10 seconds, their entire fleet was disabled. No deaths, no explosions, just total shutdown. Their ships floated, powerless, while a voice echoed across their systems. We do not conquer. We repair, but break our peace, and you will be reminded of what we built, and what we still control. That was the moment everything changed. The galaxy understood. Earth had never wanted domination. It had offered stability. But now, Earth had the power to choose, to give, or to ignore. Back on Earth, in the underground city of Soldeep, the High Council gathered. Scientists, leaders, engineers, all working as one. Not for war, but for balance. Their leaders stood tall and proud. We vanished because they feared our strength, she said. Now they beg for it. But strength is not our gift. Our gift is wisdom. And this time, we choose where it flows. The stars no longer looked the same. They looked human. The galaxy was no longer what it used to be. The Council, once proud, once powerful, was now a shadow of itself. Its voice carried no weight. Its fleets were grounded. Its systems were failing. Planets once loyal now stood alone, waiting, hoping for a signal. And above them all, across the stars, one truth had become clear. Earth was in control. But Earth didn't rule with weapons. It didn't demand tribute or territory. Instead, it watched, it listened. And slowly, silently, it chose. On the world of Halvan 9, a city once ruled by greedy governors had fallen into ruin. Its citizens were starving, its skies filled with black smoke. One morning, as the sun rose, a single human drone entered orbit. Then 2, then 10. In just 4 hours, the pollution was cleared. Machines repaired the broken infrastructure. New farms bloomed, and when the city's people looked up, they saw a message across the sky. This is what trust brings. Meanwhile, on the council world of Drexen, the old leaders gathered one last time. Their numbers were small now. Many had left. Others had been overthrown by angry citizens. Only a few remained, and they were desperate. They agreed to send a final request, not as rulers, but as equals. They sent a transmission directly to Earth. We were wrong. We see it now. If you will not return, Then at least teach us. Help us rebuild, not for control, but for survival. Please. For a time, there was silence. Then a reply came. A signal, simple and clean. Across every known network, it played in every language. Earth hears you. The galaxy froze. On Aegis 1, Captain Mira Solari read the message. Her crew watched her in silence. After a long pause, she turned to them. It's time. And so, Earth moved, but not with fleets of war. Instead, Earth sent architects, engineers, teachers, doctors, translators, and peacekeepers. Ships landed on select worlds, not the rich or the powerful, but the ones that had suffered most. Earth rebuilt without asking for anything in return, and every time they helped, they left behind one thing: a choice. A small black cube with a glowing blue line. Inside it was a question, sent directly to the heart of each world's government. Do you wish to walk with Earth, or without? The cube had no weapons, no threats, but it needed an answer, and once that choice was made, it could not be undone. Some worlds accepted, others refused. But Earth did not punish either. It simply moved forward, planet by planet, system by system, rebuilding what the Council had broken. Smarter, stronger, and fairer. Ambassador Veln, once the Council's human expert, now lived on a quiet station near Earth's hidden sector. He had been among the first to vote against the exile, and among the few who had spoken out after. Now he watched as Earth reshaped everything, without asking for a crown. He recorded a message, a personal one. His voice shook as he spoke. They tried to erase you, and still you returned, not as conquerors, but as creators. The galaxy may fear you, but I thank you. That message was never broadcast, but Earth received it, and it was remembered. In the decades that followed, the galaxy changed completely. The Council was dissolved. A new system was formed, one based on merit, understanding, and responsibility. Not controlled by Earth, but designed by it. And this new system had no rulers, only builders. Humans called them the Founders, and not all of them were human. The humanet, once locked, was now shared, but only with those who proved they could use it wisely. Each planet had to earn its access. No shortcuts, no bribes, just effort and honesty. Peace returned, not because of fear, but because the stars remembered what happened when Earth left, and what followed when it came back. In the final scene of this quiet galactic shift, a group of young children, different species, different worlds, stood together under a wide sky, watching a silver Earth ship rise into the air. One of them asked, "Will they leave again?" An older human smiled gently. "No, not this time." The stars finally learned. Above them, the ship disappeared into light. And across the galaxy, one silent truth remained. They wanted humanity gone. So Earth vanished, and took the future with it. But now, Earth was choosing who to share it with. The stars were no longer silent. They spoke, in humanity's voice.